Hello and welcome to Launerin's Gamerscore and welcome to the Elder Scrolls Online. Usually I do a little bit of a kind of intro screen, the game's menu, but for some reason it is blocked on this, so I can't actually record it using the PlayStation. Probably because of putting passwords in and things, and I just wanted to safeguard that. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and assume that if you're watching this, you know a little bit about the Elder Scrolls series, so I'm not going to talk you through what all of the races are and all of the different things that they represent. I'm just going to talk about the game. Basically, last week they did a few days free trial of the game to kind of get more people to play it. I think there's a new expansion coming out as well, so basically I thought I'd just download it, have a little look and see where I stand by the end of my playing it. So we'll start off with the character creation process. Obviously you choose your race, something that took me a little bit of time because I was just umming and ahhing about what character I wanted to be, even though I wasn't really sure on whether I was going to be playing it for much longer. In the end I did settle on a dark elf, I believe. If the video would just catch up with my narration, then we'll find out. There we go, dark elf. So the character creation is quite vast. You can kind of control your body shape and body size and height and skin colour, and foot size is one of them. I believe there was, there we go, posterior dimensions, which is always amusing to find on a character creation process. So we'll go through, kind of play about with the different features. In the end I go for something that kind of vaguely resembles nothing like me, and then we move on to the actual gameplay itself. There we go, so we jump into the game now. We kind of start on this ship, have a mysterious letter in front of us. It's all very Elder Scrolls, to be honest. We don't know who the letter's from, I believe. Or is it, I think it might be, no, it's not, it just says good travels at the end of it. And then we get a little bit of a chat with some scoundrel on the boat, passenger of some sort. And a little tutorial on how to look around and things. And then, in a shocking twist, our boat gets attacked. Oh no. So this is basically to shove you into the kind of tutorial of the game and how combat works and things like that. It's a little different. Well, the combat isn't different, but because you have shortcut keys and things like that, the combat kind of works in a slightly different way online. And obviously going into your menu screen every 5 seconds to change your weapons and change this and change that and change your magic is going to take a very long time, and because it is online it doesn't pause the game like it does in normal Elder Scrolls games. So we have a little bit of a chat with this lady here, and then she talks us through combat, and then we get into the game a little bit more.
You've been captured by slavers. Haven't you been paying
So
attention?
one of the
Maybe
main
hit your
things
head
that I
when your
found
ship
with
crashed
this
into the
game
rocks and
was
dumped you on
navigating the
slavers.
actual
Me?
menus.
My allegiance leans in an entirely different
Because
direction.
essentially
Not so
what
fast,
they've
hero.
done is they've
I need to make
crammed
sure you can handle yourself in a
all of
fight.
your
Not, let's
kind
go
of
over some of the
inventory
basics.
and all of the settings and everything else and your magic,
I want to see
and
what you've got.
obviously there's more settings with an online game, and then all of your microtransactions and stuff is all kind of in
Try to block
one
this
menu, so it takes a lot of getting used to on where you can find everything. But yeah, she wants me to stop beating her up now, so I think I will stop that.
Oh, not too much, really. I need
So
you to
this
fantasize
video
slavery
primarily
so
is
you don't look
going
like
to
one of
be
the
just
prisoners.
kind of having a little
Plus,
bit of a
we need the
walk through the
gatekeeper who will never
tutorial,
make
so
it to
there's
the
not
docks.
that much in the way of
Take my spare
spoilers,
lockpick in case you need it.
unless of course you're the kind of
Got a few
person
more
that
things
doesn't
to check
like
on
the
before we can make
tutorials
our
being
escape. You
spoiled.
do your part. An idea? Of course.
So we're just going
I
to
just
let
need
this
proof to
ramble on a
satisfy
little
my
bit now
opponents.
and see what else we have in store.
You will free us, yes?
My egg sister told me that discount voyage was too good to be true.
So in typical Elder Scrolls fashion, I've basically started and I'm literally picking up everything that I can see. One thing that I did find slightly different was the lock picking system, which I believe is reminiscent of, I think it was Oblivion this kind of thing was in, rather than the turning one that you get in Skyrim. Can't really remember how this works. I think it was just a case of just keep pushing them down until you can't push them down anymore. I managed to unlock the chest, so you know, that was one thing. And then we have another player that's just randomly turned up, and I thought they were an NPC trying to attack me, so I started throwing my fists. But as far as I'm aware, there is no PvP unless it's initiated. You get daily rewards as well when you play for multiple days in a row, as you do with a lot of these kinds of games. So, you know, I claimed it because why not? And then, as you can see, like I was saying earlier, the menus are a little bit vast, and some of the stuff in it isn't really explained very well at the start. But essentially you have your crown store, which is literally everything that you can buy with the microtransaction currency, which ranges from expansion packs to new items to special items and things like that. I'm not sure whether you start with it normally, but I somehow ended up with 500 of the crowns, so I do have a little bit of a look through the menus just to see if there is anything interesting that I can pick up for my measly amount of crowns. I think in the end I settle on just a starter pack that's got a little pet in it, just because mainly because I wasn't really thinking that I'm going to continue playing this for too much longer. because I wasn't sure how I felt about it at this point. And then, yeah, so you can buy houses and furniture in different styles, new clothing, mounts, pets. There's literally streams and streams and streams of different things that you can buy. But there we go, I'm buying my starter pack now, and there we go. So I've got my little panther cub. And now I have found my way into another building, which is filled with weapons, which is essentially you get into this building and it's essentially you picking what weapon you want to fight with for the rest of the game. Well, not the rest of the game, but for this part of the game. Because I usually find that the weapons that you choose at the start, they're the ones that you level up, and then they're the ones you end up using for most of the game. But yeah, in typical Elder Scrolls fashion, still going through picking up everything that I can see, because at the moment I'm not sure how carrying capacity works, but I do figure it out in a little while. So then we end up back outside, and I test out my new staff, and then we go back into the little story that's tied in with the tutorial about escaping this little island.
Are returning and plans have changed. Now you sent me to find. Now you sent a signal to the house guard.
So this is the part of the game where you start off and you read everything that the characters say to you, and you listen to them, and you actually engage in the story. But one thing that I've found playing Elder Scrolls games is after a little while you do just start jabbing the skip button, and then just rereading it in the condensed form in your quest log, and then that's usually how you end up playing the game, or at least you do if you're me. So we've got another player kind of stood here reading a book. He's been there for about an hour at this point while I was capturing this footage. No idea what he's doing or anything. But I had a little look at the interaction wheel to see what was going on there, and then made my way up to the quest marker, which I didn't see and didn't really understand because I didn't really listen to what was being said.
I couldn't have done much better myself, hero. Good work down there. I'm an assassin. Because I need
And
your
there
help.
we go. Now starts the quick skipping of everything because I'm just skim reading what's being said to me.
Look, I signaled Sedanin.
So we've got a little bit more combat coming up, and then I'm going to talk about some of the other features of the game as well. So we go through this door, and that takes us to the docks. And then we try to stealthily fire flaming balls of fire, because usually that's what balls of fire are made out of, and we try and stealth it and just fail. But yeah, you've got lots of dodge techniques and stuff that you're supposed to get used to, but I couldn't figure it out. I kept pressing like L1 rather than L2 and things like that. But yeah, it's at this point where I was just trying to kind of figure out combat a little bit more, so I did spend a little bit of time literally just wandering around waiting for these enemies to respawn and fight them for a good half an hour. So there we go, now we've woken up in another ship, and for anybody that has played the Elder Scrolls Morrowind, this is all going to seem very familiar. because I was very impressed with how closely it resembles the old game, even though that game is, well, it's got to be 20 years old now, surely? Something like that.
We fished you out of the burning wreckage of a slaver ship near Thiam. If you're not
but yeah, you've got all of the... I think, actually, as well, in the previous bit, I was actually disguised as a slaver and I could have just walked past them all. But anyway, we're going to enter into Seyda-Neen, and look, we are on a ship, and then we get off the ship and walk down towards this building. But yeah, this is all very reminiscent of the Elder Scrolls Morrowind when that first came out. And yeah, unfortunately at this point as well, I hadn't figured out how to turn different characters' voices off, like people that were using mics. So there is a little bit of chatter in the background. But yeah, we're going to turn that off in a minute so we won't hear them rambling on as much. And then there was a little bit of story there that I've cut out, but now we're in Seyda-Neen, and it is like it is in the original game.
We need help.
Apart from there's a lot of people running about attacking each other. So there's a little quest here that I thought I'd pick up and go and have a look at. Again, I'm not going to focus too much on what the quests actually are and things like that. I do go and see the Findon in his shop though. This was one of the first places that I used to come and rob. When I played Morrowind for the first time, I just used to steal everything that I could and then tried to sell it back to him. So it's at this point that I realised that picking everything up was probably not the best idea, because everything that you've picked up in that first section of the game, in the tutorial area, is worth absolutely diddly squit. So there's literally, it's just filling up your inventory. So the way the inventory works on this game, I'm aware that I've said it in like 3 different ways at this point, but the way that it works is you can carry 60 separate items, so you can have a stack of lots of them, which will only take up 1 slot in your inventory. And then I went for a little walk up the road expecting a man to fall from the sky. I found somebody on the floor, assumed that's what it was, and then I got this whole ancestral tomb thing. For those of you that aren't familiar with Morrowind, the man falling from the sky as you leave Seyda-Neen probably means nothing to you. I'm not going to explain it. It's a little bit of an in-joke kind of thing, or at least it was to us, because it was just constantly, oh, there's a man gonna fall from the sky, and there he was. Anyway, I'm rambling. So we get told a little bit more about this ancestral tomb that we have to go and investigate. So let's go and have a little bit of a look at that. So we go down here, and there's lots of these little kind of witchling things that we go and have a look at. I steal some kills off some other people, and then essentially at this point in a little bit more into the tomb, I realised that maybe you're supposed to get a little party together to come down here, rather than try and do it on your own when you're at this low level. So I did just end up killing a lot of these little things just on my own, just trying to level up a little bit so that I could deal with things before I went a little bit deeper into the tomb. I think overall I did play this game for about 3 or 4 hours while the free trial was active. I'm still not 100% sold on whether I'm going to play it continuously, whether I'm going to get into it, because it has been a long time since I've had a go on an online game. Really, it hasn't been since the days of World of Warcraft that I've really got into one. It was at this point that I realised that I probably should have got a little party together and ended up being swarmed by lots of monsters. And then ended up just running into some more. And then all of the others came and I died. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think, or at least I don't think at this point in the game, there is a penalty to being killed. I think you can just respawn, but I think as you progress in the game, I think there will be penalties and things like that. So it's at this point I basically started playing Robert Palmer, and just went killing stuff for about an hour. And then I went to go and have a look at some of the houses that you can buy using your in-game currency. Well, one of them that I found, which was Anaya Lake or something to that effect, which is essentially a big mansion that I believe is probably better if you kind of get if there's a group of you that all play together, and then this could be the stronghold that you share, because it's a little bit big for just one person to own, as well as expensive, but we'll go into that in a second. So I thought I'd just have a look around, have a look at the views and see how things look. It is big, there's a lot of storage space. At the moment we're looking at the unfurnished version, and but yeah, there's definitely a lot of room to store various weapons, armors, and have several people essentially using it all at the same time. Me just figuring out how I could get down easily without suffering any fall damage there. So there we go, now we can see that if you want to actually own this lodge, then it's going to cost, you need to gain an achievement, which I believe is gained by completing a quest, and then hand over 1,300,000 gold, or something to that effect. Alternatively, you can spend, I think it was 8,000 crowns to buy it, which roughly, I've had a look at the cost of actually buying the crowns. Essentially, you're looking somewhere around 35-40 pounds sterling to actually buy it. I'm not sure how that equates in dollars, but there you go, you've got all your options of how much you can pay to actually buy it. So I went looking for a cheaper option and found out that you can get a little house for free for doing a little quest, which I've done. I found it, I went in there, and it is just one room, so it is really nothing compared to the lodge that we were just looking at. I then played around with placing the one placeable thing that I own, which is my little panther cub, and placed him into my house. So yeah, he's very cute. So I think that's all I'm going to cover for this week. I'm still not 100% sold on Elder Scrolls Online. I may look into buying it so I can play it some more, but considering I still haven't finished Skyrim VR yet, I probably won't, because I want to get back into that. So thank you very much for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.